China. 1.5 billion people, 5,000 years of history, and an economy that booms even in the slowest of times. Now, when you think of China, what do you think of? Perhaps it's the Great Wall of China, the greatest man-made structure ever built on this earth, and the only one that's been able to be seen from space. Currently, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people visit the Great Wall of China every year, both foreign and Chinese. Currently, there's only one way to see the Great Wall, and that's the climate. Now, do you think Greg and Rosa, our Swedish friends over here, want to fight through the masses of Chinese tourists that are climbing the wall every single day? No. They came to the Great Wall because they want to experience the Great Wall. They want to see it. They want to experience the magnitude and the splendor that it has to offer. What better way to do this than up from the sky? Currently, there are over 200,000 hot air balloons operating around the world today, several of which are already operating in various regions of China. The hot air balloon business is extremely profitable. Average hot air balloon holds 8 passengers at over $100 on industry standard per person, costs less than $400. By operating 3 balloons a day at 5 combined rides, we're looking at over $2,000 profit every single day. Now you may ask, why would the Chinese government, a very controlling regime, why would they allow me, a simple young American college student, to open a business such as this? By building our balloons bright red with the 4 golden stars that represent China and the Chinese flag, every single tourist that goes to China, whether they're foreign or Chinese, when they return home and show these magnificent pictures of the Great Wall, not only will they be showing the wall and all its splendor and glory or the beautiful surroundings, but the Chinese flag drifting high across the sky. So I leave you with this. If any of you ever plan on going to China, make sure you call me, Jared Everline, at Great Wall Balloons to make sure give me the chance to allow you to go 2,000 feet in the sky to view the Great Wall in all of its pleasure. And questions?
How are you building the balloons?
Well, the balloons will be bought. Average price, you can use a balloon for $10,000. You can also pay up to $80,000 for a special rocket-shaped balloon. For the balloons we're talking, simple, standard build, red, customized. We're looking at $30,000 a balloon. 3 balloons, you're looking at $90,000 initial investment cost.
Where are you going to get them made?
There's several balloon makers around the world. We're going to make sure it's from a quality producer in the United States who's a trusted name in balloon building.
Where are you going to get them there?
On a boat, cargo ship.
How are you going to make sure they actually all get there?
Every day there's hundreds of boats that cross the Pacific Ocean, and it's pretty safe to say that with a proven quality logistics service, we're able to get them there on time, in good shape, good working order.
Where exactly is there?
There, I'm sorry about that. Badaling, the most visited section of the Great Wall, is located about a half-hour drive north of Beijing, which is also the #1 tourist destination for tourists from around the world visiting China.
How are you going to get them there from where they're going to arrive at the port? It's
a great question. Well, those simple trucks. Hot air balloons aren't that big. I thought you were referring to the customers to the balloon site, but
Are the balloons going to be tethered, so they're just going to go up?
No. We talked about this before. The exclusivity and the quality and the service and the experience that these individuals want to provide, they're going to go over the main part of the Great Wall. But it's also, it extends 5,500 miles. In an hour to an hour and a half ride, you can see a large section of it. And as you can see here, it's an absolutely beautiful, stunning region of the world. Beautiful mountains with grass and rocks, and it's really an amazing sight, even if the Great Wall wasn't there. But with it there, on the top of the mountaintops and everything else, it's truly a sight to see.
What are your customers base? What's your give me an age range?
Age range is basically anybody. We're looking at families. We're looking at older tourists. It's quite a trip. It's an expensive trip to go to China. Whether if you're coming from Europe or Russia or America, it's a pretty cost investment trip to go out there. So we're looking at any sort of age. Whether it's families, whether it's business people. Companies might might take an investor out on the hot air balloon to see the Great Wall. Anyone who's looking for a convenient, comfortable, and relaxed way to see one of the greatest wonders of the world. Definitely looking at mainly foreign tourists, as the Chinese are very... The reason that the hot air balloons aren't prevalent and they're already is because the Chinese are very timid. You know, and especially the wealthy Chinese, the people who are wealthy enough to be able to afford this sort of service, this sort of experience, they say, you know, I have $1 million. Why do I want to risk my life going up in this balloon? I'll be losing my $1 million. So it's that sort of mindset that doesn't allow them to go. But in fact, hot air balloons are safer than any airplane you'll fly in. So that trip across the Pacific from the U.S. or from Europe is actually going to be safer than that hour and a half inside the hot air balloon.
You mentioned risk. Have you done any research regarding any restrictions that the Chinese may have about forming these sorts of businesses?
Well, I know that the government allows hot air balloons in China. They're already operating in different regions, Yangshuo, Yunnan, various other regions in China. It's all based on obtaining a license, which will be the most difficult task in this process. You know, it's talking to the right people. It's getting to know the right, getting to know the right people, maybe at the right price. That's the biggest challenge. But once that license is obtained, you basically, the way that the economy and the government works is you now control a monopoly over that area. So if that license is obtained, we could be the only hot air balloons going across the sky, which will allow us, if we can sell this to the government, you know, they want that flag in the sky. It'll allow us to control that market, as well as, you know, some funding, because they want people to come. They want people to see it. They want, you know, foreign dignitaries to want to go in the sky and to see the Great Wall and not have to close it down and not have to, you know, walk next to these Chinese commoners who may not smell the best.
Can you explain to me what the weather patterns will be?
You know, I've been there and it's absolutely, it's not that, I don't want to say crazy, but it's not that active of a climate. And in fact, for hot air ballooning, the cooler the climate is, usually the calmer the skies are. So, you know, some people might think, well, what about when the colder months come through? You know, it gets chillier up there. As long as your guests know to wear extra layers of clothing, it's actually easier for a pilot to fly in the cooler weathers. And we have access. A partner in this business of mine is a good friend who's run a successful hot air balloon business in California for over 3 years. Who knows all about the different ceiling levels, draft patterns. Now that would also be the first step in the process, is to go over with a trained pilot and a couple other individuals in the industry to scout out the terrain, to take a look at the climate, the weather patterns, the wind directions, where the best angles to go at this would be.
Did you address the environmental impact?
Other than burning 227 liters of propane every single hour, there's not too much environmental impact. You know, clearing a little bit of land here for the takeoff and landing zones. Other than that, it should be pretty easy on the environment.
Okay.
So that's 6
Thank
minutes.
you.